Hi guys, I'm Laura Vitale, and on this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, we are making a chocolate salted slightly peanut butter pie. We haven't made peanut butter pie in a few years here. Peanut butter pie is one of Joe's favorites, and since Father's Day is approaching us, I gotta think of the fellas, I gotta think of my hubby, and I know he loves this recipe, and I do too. I mean, everybody does. So I wanted to just sort of remind you that there's a great peanut butter pie recipe on the website, and this is sort of an updated version of that. The base is going to consist of pretzels. Yes, I said pretzels, salted pretzels, a little sugar, graham crackers, and butter. That is going to be the base. I have my oven preheating to 350 so that we can get the base toasted. I'm adding the graham crackers in the base of a food processor. I'm adding the pretzels because the combination of sweet and salty is so good, it's insane, especially with the creamy peanut butter and then the sweet chocolate, all the things. And I'm gonna add some softened butter, unsalted, because we've got plenty of salt in those pretzels. I'm getting like hungry. Really should have just pulsed everything together first and then added the butter, but just mix until it resembles wet sand. Greasing my pie plate with my butter wrapper, and then you're gonna take this mixture. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Look at this. It's like perfectly wet sand. When you sort of pinch it together, it kind of holds. That is what you want. That's what. Oh, it smells unbelievably good already. Like the mixture of the sweet graham crackers. Ah, love this. I'm gonna take a measuring cup. You can take whatever. You can take a regular drinking cup, drinking glass, whatever you want to call it. And I just kind of use this to help me press this into place so that the bottom is nice and smooth. And I want you to remember this. Your pies, anything that you make, at least anything of mine, let's just put it that way. Don't worry about how perfect it needs to look, how perfect you think it should look. It doesn't. We all know that if Mrs. Vitale's Instagram pops up a photo of the most perfectly crimped pie crust, you better be calling 911 because I have been abducted and someone else made that pie, because it just doesn't happen. First of all, I just don't have that kind of patience. I have that kind of patience with children, and that's where it ends. Second of all, if I have to worry about making something perfect, I lose the joy that I have when it comes to cooking, right? And for me, the joy is much more important than how something looks, how perfect it is, how perfectly crimped it is. If this side is too thick, if that side's too crumbly, I just don't care. I'm sorry, I just don't care. And I don't think you should either, because then you won't cook if you worry about that. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, enough said. I'm gonna put this baby in the oven for like 10 minutes. And in the meantime, we're gonna make our filling. Nice and easy. All right, let's go ahead and make the filling. I make the filling right in my food processor because I really just don't like washing dishes, and that is the truth. But really, this just works very well, so why not? You're gonna take some peanut butter. This is the time to use like the generic Skippy kind, you know, those kinds of peanut butters, not the all natural kind, simply because those will split and we don't want any of that. So you need your peanut butter, it can be smooth or chunky. You need some cream cheese softened at room temperature. You need some powdered sugar. You also need a pinch of salt, which I know sounds wild, but you need it. It makes everything taste so much better. A good splosh of vanilla. The chocolate's gonna come later, by the way, not right now, later on. A good splash of vanilla, and you're gonna go ahead and put a lid on and mix together until it's nice and combined and creamy. Okay, once you have it mixed, by the way, it's so good. Add it to a bowl with some whipped topping or freshly whipped cream, and it looks like it's never gonna come together, but it will. You just need to give it a minute. You need to let it combine, and then it turns into this like moussey peanut butter situation. It is so good. I would like to have this as a dip with like pretzels alongside or something. It's absolutely that delicious. Okay, just give it a mixeroo like that. It takes a bit to kind of come together, but it does. See that? Nice and creamy and delightful. Yeah, that's what I like. It always comes out like a bit dry and like separated out of the mixer, of the food processor. But once you start mixing it with the whipped cream or whipped topping, whichever you want to use, then it just turns into a perfect creamy. It's so good. Okay, add it to your cooled pie crust, and then you're gonna have to cover this with some plastic wrap and pop it in the fridge. I do it overnight just because it's easier. I don't have to fuss with it. I can make it ahead of time, and it works out really well that way. And look at that well that we made with our crust. It's like perfect. Perfect. Okay, beautiful. All right, cover. This is mine. That is mine. Cover in the fridge overnight. Tomorrow, we finished. Okay, peanut butter pie was in the fridge overnight. It's really well set. I'm just gonna take the plastic off and I'm going to set it aside. It's nice and set. And let's work on the chocolate topping. In a small bowl, you're gonna take some semi-sweet chocolate chips and you're gonna add some boiling hot heavy cream. And I have a little tiny bit of butter. It just kind of helps with the glossiness. I'm gonna add that at the end. But what I'm gonna do right now is let this sit together just for like a minute or two, and then I'll give it a really good whisk, and then everything will melt and be perfection. So I'm gonna set that aside. Peanut butter pie looks good. Once it's got the chocolate topping on it, we're gonna pop it into the fridge for like 45 minutes or so. Then we top it with whipped cream, then we eat. It's so worth it, these extra few steps. I know it seems a little tedious, but a lot of the time it's just spent hanging out in the fridge, so it's not like it needs that much attention, but it is so worth it. There we go. Oh yeah, that looks perfect. Add your butter. Just kind of helps with glossiness and giving it the right, see how nice and glossy it is now that we added that butter? Yes. And just a little richness. Oh, it's so perfect. If you don't want to add butter, you could substitute just a tiny bit of coconut oil and it would do the same thing. But once you add that little tiny bit of fat, you just get a really beautiful glossy finish, which I like. Okay, take that to your pie. You might not need all of it. Yes, you will. There's always the tiniest bit left over in the bowl, but that is perfect. Smooth it out, and then I just kind of pop it back into the fridge uncovered. I really want that chocolate to set. Like I said, 45 minutes to an hour or so. It is going to be perfect. And then, like I said, we top it, we slice it, and we devour it. All right, this has been setting for an hour. I went ahead and whipped up some whipped cream with just a touch of sugar. Not a lot. I literally added a couple tablespoons of confectioner sugar, like powdered sugar, and that's it. And then I don't pipe it. I don't do anything perfect to it. I kind of just smear it on like so. That's going to be for me. The tiniest bit of cocoa powder just because it makes it look better. And if you wanted to, which I would suggest, some finely chopped peanuts would really take this over the top, especially if they were honey roast peanuts. Let me tell you something, that would be pretty phenomenal. But aside from that, I don't know if you can tell by my salivating, it is time, son. It is time. We are gonna slice. It's the first slice, as you know, when it comes to any pie. It's kind of like the first pie is like the first pancake. It's never perfect. It's always messed up. And I call that the cook slice because I don't mind that it's not perfect because I know it will certainly be delicious even if it's not perfect once you get it out. But I know it's going to be good. And that for me is the most important part. Let's see. I don't know if you can really tell because the way the knife goes down. You got a good crust there, got a really thick filling, and you got the perfect chocolate to whipped cream ratio. I know this is phenomenal. I know it. It is like, I don't even know. It's just perfection. I don't even know. The little bit of salt from the pretzels makes the peanut butter and the chocolate really stand out. And that's what's so fabulous about anything salt. It's not necessarily going to make something taste really salty. It's just going to give you an incredible balance. And salt is a flavor enhancer. So it's going to make everything else around it really bloom and really pop. And that's exactly what it does here. You have to get this recipe at laurenkitchen.com. Hope you enjoyed spending time with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.